I'm E-Lightning, and this is Sports Storm.
Today we'll be doing our top 10 NBA players of all time. So right off the bat, who do you have as your greatest NBA player of all time, otherwise as the GOAT?
Michael Jordan. The work ethic, the stats, the MVPs, the championships, it's literally all there. There's almost nothing. I mean, nobody other than like the trendy pick is say, oh, LeBron's better than Jordan. I mean, if you take a look at the MVPs and the championships, there's no contest.
Yeah, obviously, Michael Jordan's the best player of all time. Like you said, work ethic. He has 6 titles. I believe 6 MVPs. Maybe it's 5. I'm not for sure on that stat. But he put up amazing stats, had great defense, best player of all time. Who do you have at number 2?
Number 2, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, possibly I think, no question, the best low post scorer of all time. Even had a pretty nice mid-ranger. I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a complete package for so long. I mean, there's almost nothing you could do to stop him if you tried. I mean, he was the first unstoppable player in the offensive end.
Number 2, I have arguably the best defender of all time, Bill Russell for the Celtics. Won 11 championships. Now, I know the competition wasn't as high. There weren't as many teams, but I believe he's the best defender of all time, standing at only 6'9" or 6'10". And the fact that he won 11 championships with the Celtics, I think you have to put him at number 2. Who do you have at number 3?
At number 3, I have Bill Russell. As you said, the best defender of all time, won 11 championships. There's obviously nothing you can say. Possibly one of the best rebounders of all time. I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Russell basically defined the center position for the first, basically 25 years of the NBA.
Yeah, at number 3, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Leads the NBA in career points with the signature skyhook that was practically unstoppable. Really succeeded in the league until he retired, and not a lot of players can say they did that. He also, like you said, one of the most, arguably the best post scorer of all time. Who do you have at number 4? Who do you have at number 4?
At number 4, I have Wilt Chamberlain. Now, Wilt Chamberlain, a lot of people skepticism because of the era he played in. Listen, he had one of the best seasons ever, almost better than Oscar Robertson's triple-double season. However, I mean, the 100-point game, 50. I mean, this dude could put up 50 rebounds and 50 points on you. I mean, he was a ridiculous rebounder, possibly the best of all time, and the most dominant center, I think, on the low post until Shaq.
Yeah, at number 4, I also have Wilt Chamberlain. Now, you could argue a guy like Magic here, but the one thing is, Wilt Chamberlain had an amazing season, averaged about 50 points, 25 rebounds, got that infamous 100-point game, but I think based solely on his career stats. Now, he did play in an era where the points per possession was much higher. It was a very fast-paced game, but I do think just the fact how great he was at the game, I think you have to put him at number 4. Who do you have at number 5?
At number 5, I have Magic Johnson. Now, the prototypical point forward. Whenever anybody thinks of a tall guy who can play the point, it's Magic Johnson. I mean, he had the championships. He has this talent. I mean, possibly you could even say the best passer of all time. And he could even score. I mean, this dude, there's nothing he didn't do when he was in the league. And I think he is deserved of that number 5 spot.
Yeah, at number 5, I have Magic Johnson. Like you said, arguably the best passer of all time. The first ever really point forward that really succeeded in the NBA. Averaged about consistently could drop 10 assists on you. Really dominant player for the Lakers. Did pair up with Kareem and James Worthy. Who do you have at number 6?
At number 6, I have Shaq. Now, as I said, you could make an argument for him being the most dominant rebounder ever. I mean, he was massive. He could score on you. I mean, free throws were his down stat, but really, if that's the really one thing that anybody can really bash you for, I mean, he has the rings, MVP. I mean, there's nothing Shaq. Like I said with Magic, there's nothing he didn't do, except I think what puts him under is just how he has a little bit less of a skill set and talent than Magic had. Magic was just so fluid. That's why I have Shaq at 6.
Number 6, I have LeBron James. Now, I got a lot of hate on the last video for keeping him out of my top 10, which I understand was ridiculous. But, I mean, after this last finals performance, I don't see how you can argue that he's not in the top 10. I think he deserves a spot at number 6. Matches Shaq in titles. matches him, I believe, in MVPs. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I think overall was the most dominant player in his era. Shaq was the most dominant player in the league for a few years, but LeBron has been continuously dominant throughout his career. Who do you have at number 7?
At number 7, I have LeBron. Now, it's obvious LeBron deserves a spot. He could even be even higher if you argued it. However, the one thing that keeps him back, I feel like he didn't win. He has a losing record, or his NBA Finals record is not what really is desired too much. However, LeBron, as you said, he's been doing ever since he came into the league. He's basically been dominating the league. I mean, yeah, there've been your risers, like there's always like the Russell Westbrook that pops up, or the Steph Curry that pops up. But if you notice, the one guy that never goes away is LeBron. And as you said, he puts up ridiculous stats. He can take over a game, and there's really no way of stopping him.
Number 6, I have Shaquille O'Neal. I think you can obviously argue LeBron or Shaq here. The one thing is I think LeBron just overall was more dominant than Shaq was. Now, Shaq was one of the most dominant, you could even argue the most dominant post scorer, but I think some of the other guys like Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just have him edged out a bit. But nonetheless, Shaq is a Hall of Famer, a great rebounder, great shot blocker, and was really the best big man in the last 20 years. Who do you have at number 8?
Number 8, I have Oscar Robertson. Now, he had the best season of all time, the triple-double season, and obviously he put up great stats for like his entire career. He was the first do-it-all point guard. He was basically the precursor to Russell Westbrook. He did everything for you that you needed him. Of course, teamed up with Abdul-Jabbar. And I feel like if he had been more consistent, if he had gotten a little bit better stats over his total career, like championships and MVPs, he would be much higher on the list.
At number 8, I also have Oscar Robertson. Now, I do think you could drop him a little bit. I think he could be much higher if he did win a few more championships, but he didn't. And but based solely on his stats, you could also argue him to be better than Magic in terms of the best point guard. I think if you put Oscar Robertson on that Lakers team, I think they could have been even better. But I think just based solely on that he doesn't have the MVPs and the championship, you have to leave him here at 8, which is still a fairly great number. Who do you have at number 9?
I have Larry Legend. Now, Larry, he won a lot of championships. Couple MVPs. However, and the great stats. However, what holds him back, he doesn't have as many championships, and he was really outshone. I feel like in the great debate between Magic or Larry, Magic wins the championships and the MVPs. But Larry is still one of the best players. He's all right up there with Stephen Curry and a lot of those other guys for best shooter, and that's got to put him on the list.
At number 9, I also have Larry Bird. Like you said, most dominant shooter of his era. It was basically the entire 80s was filled between him. Well, the entire early 80s was him and Magic. Magic ultimately won that, but he was still a legend in the NBA and is still remembered today as one of the best shooters of all time. Now, who do you have at number 10?
So I might get a lot of hate for putting Kobe Bryant this low. However, he only has the one MVP. Probably should have won another one, but, he didn't. He has a very good career averages, obviously. However, it holds in very nice championships. Over the one MVP holds him back, and the fact that he was dominant for there was a couple periods, 3 or 4 years where you couldn't say nothing about Kobe. However, I feel like in terms of dominance, he's below a lot of the other players on the list.
At number 10, I actually don't have Kobe Bryant. I have him at 11. Number 10, I have Tim Duncan. Now, in terms of championships, they both have the same amount. But the one thing is, Tim Duncan also has more MVPs than him. And Tim Duncan, I believe, is the best power forward of all time. And he didn't necessarily dominate his era and wasn't as famous, as so to say, as Kobe Bryant was. But I think Tim Duncan definitely deserves more credit than he is getting at this current moment. I think he's one of the best players of all time. I think he deserves a spot at number 10. Kobe, you could definitely argue for him here. That is it for us today at Sports Storm. Like,
comment,
subscribe, peace.